Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the Fourth.
Last night, the Rays saw one slip away late as the Twins rallied for 2 runs in the 7th to defeat Tampa Bay 3-2. Today, right-hander Alex Colomé goes to the hill looking for a bounce-back performance. We greet you on a very pleasant afternoon, a bit overcast here in Minneapolis. Game 2 of this series on tap between the Rays and the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Rays dropped the first game of this road trip last night, and so there's still a game back in the American League East, 1 game behind the New York Yankees. And they're looking for a turnaround on the road here, and it would appear they have the right guy on the mound. Alex Colomé, in his brief career, has been very good on the road.
Well, you don't need to look any further than his mound presence, his demeanor. I mean, this is a guy who's very stoic. He's not going to get rattled or bothered in hostile environments, and the numbers bear that out. As you can see, in 5 career road starts, a 4-0 record, and an ERA of 1. He's got 9 career starts. 6 of the 9 he's given up 1 earned or 0 earned. He's done that 4 times on the road. Also doesn't hurt that he's got great stuff. The fastball, both sides of the plate, the slider, the secondary pitches, the stuff travels, and it's traveled well.
And Trevor May will be his pitching opponent. Colomé in 3 starts this year, 2-1, and May, who likes the changeup, is 2-3 with an earned run mark of 5.40. Rays continue to get great starting pitching. They have the best ERA in the league, and recently the bullpen has done the same. They've turned it completely around, and when we come back, Emily Austin chats with the Rays skipper Kevin Cash about the bullpen resurgence.
of the series with the Twins. Alex Colomé is on the mound for the Rays today. In his 3 starts with Tampa Bay, he's made it to the 6th inning, is the deepest he's gone, 5, 5, and 6. So it's apparent that the Rays will have to dip into their bullpen quite a bit in today's matchup, but that might be okay with the Rays. Look at these numbers. In the first 12 games of the season, the Rays bullpen had a league worst 6.25 ERA. Well, since then, it's done a complete 180 to the second best in the league, 1.91 ERA. The numbers have improved in all categories. As you can see, the walks just are 20 in the first 12 games, double that amount of games, just 28 walks. And Kevin Cash knows that his bullpen is one of the league's best right now.
Obviously, their flexibility to come in and pitch in different situations, and you know, we've kind of caught a hot streak with all of them throwing the ball really well. You know, our starters have provided us some length. It's been a little tricky navigating through some games with you know, guys that are new to starting, but the bullpen has been there throughout the course of the season to kind of pick them up and hold leads for them. They've done a tremendous job.
As you may know, the Rays got back Jake McGee yesterday. He did not pitch, but who knows, we might see him today. Kevin Kiermaier and the Rays will face Trevor May. Dwayne and BA with the call next. Stay right here.
Rays have had a great run of success here at Target Field since it opened in 2010. They're 15-5 here, but dropped last night's opening game of the series 3-2. Trying to square it here this afternoon as they face Trevor May. And we'll take a look at the starting lineup put together by Kevin Cash and presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kevin Kiermaier leads it off. Steven Souza Jr. hits second in front of Evan Longoria. James Loney gets a DH day today, hitting cleanup. And Logan Forsythe will hit fifth and play first. David DeJesus, the number 6 man in the order, ahead of Asdrubal Cabrera. Tim Beckham will get a start. He'll hit 8th and play second, and Rene Rivera will do the catching.
Taking the mound this afternoon for the Minnesota Twins, right-hander Trevor May making his 7th start of the season. We talked about Alex Colomé looking for a bounce-back start. The same thing with Trevor May. His last time out was in Cleveland against the Indians. He went 4 innings, gave up 6 earned runs in taking the loss. Let's take a look at the defense as it lines up behind Trevor. In the outfield left to right, we have Eddie Rosario, Aaron Hicks, and Torrey Hunter. Across the infield, third to first, Trevor Plouffe, Eduardo Escobar, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer. Kurt Suzuki will be behind the plate.
That's a look at the 25-year-old right-hander. He started the year at AAA, but before he could pitch there, he was summoned to the major leagues when Ricky Nolasco went on the disabled list. And the Rays going to look at him here this afternoon. There's Paul Molitor, the skipper of the Minnesota Twins. First year starting his managing career at the young age of 58. He's done about everything else in this game, as if hitting wasn't enough. Well, here's the first pitch to Kiermaier, and it comes in too high. That first pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. So we're underway. Just foul outside the bag at first. Takes the count to a ball and a strike. Threat of rain in Minneapolis today. Rays and the Twins very optimistic that they can get this game in before the rains set in, and we're all hopeful. Ground ball right side for Dozier. That's the first out of the ball game. So one away. And Steven Souza Jr. approaches the batter's box. Souza starts the day hitting .230. He was 0 for 4 last night. You see 15 runs batted in. He and Logan Forsythe each with 15, topping the lineup in that department. A ball, no strikes. One and one.
Well, interesting to see where Trevor May lines up on the rubber. He's on the far first base side. That allows him easier access to the fastball down and away to the righties, into the lefties.
1 and 2. And he is largely known to have the best changeup coming out of their system. Command at times has been an issue with that changeup, but that's his calling card. Pop back of first. Mauer will not have a play.
And it's not so much command outside of the strike zone, because he doesn't walk a lot of hitters, but it's command within the strike zone. And some of these pitches leaving him out over the heart of the plate. He's got a firm fastball, but he doesn't have that explosive fastball that he can get away with mistakes consistently.
And he gets Souza. Gets him reaching. Strikeout number 1.
And that's where this got curveball velocity, kind of a break like a slider, more like a slurve. You can see had some depth to it. He was able to sweep it away from Souza Jr., and that was at 78 miles an hour.
Here's Longoria. 2 up, 2 down to start it. It's low and away. May up last year for 10 games, 9 of them starts. He went 3 and 6. Ground ball to third. Plouffe whipped the throw, and the Rays are up and down 1-2-3. Bottom of the first coming up. Scoreless. the Rays dugout. Minnesota will have Brian Dozier to lead off as we take a look at their line, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Torrey Hunter and then Joe Mauer. Trevor Plouffe hitting cleanup in front of Kurt Suzuki. Eduardo Escobar at short. Eddie Rosario in left. Aaron Hicks will start in center. And the DH hitting ninth is Danny Santana.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Alex Colomé making his 4th start of the season. That ERA 5.63. Obviously, that's mainly due to his last start where he gave up 8 earned runs in 6 innings against the New York Yankees. But outside of that, when taking the mound as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays, he has been fantastic.
And the Twins get their first look at him. First pitch is firm fastball in there for a strike. Dozier drove in 2 of the Minnesota runs last night, 1 with his 5th home run of the year.
Yeah, on his birthday, no less. And he's been one of the hitters in this lineup for the Twins that's been hot recently.
Right back into the screen. It's 1-2, and the home run came in the 3rd inning. He got a fastball up and took care of that.
And you don't see that very often either off Jake Odorizzi. The fastball that's elevated right around the letters. He powdered that one.
Little tapper foul. With Dozier in the leadoff spot, interesting combination. He's been working deeper counts. He's got some pop up there. He had 23 home runs last year. Not a real speedy guy, but he did steal 21 bases for them a year ago.
And you know what? You'll take that. 21 stolen bases anymore. That's going to lead most teams. But you're right, not speedy per se, but a good base runner. And he knows how to get a good jump. He knows the pitchers that he can run on, the catchers that he can run on.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
By the way, you got to love what's going on with Alex Colomé this afternoon. I mean, between the chain, the bushy goatee, the 3/4 Little League sleeves, everything he's got going from the knees down.
Well, we mentioned the Twins are getting their first look at him, and he's giving them a lot to look at.
Very distracting.
Now the count is full. Torrey Hunter on deck. And he just missed there for ball 4. Missed with a fastball.
Well, there you go. Just what you were talking about, working the deep counts. Brian Dozier able to work that walk. Well, let's take a quick look at the Tampa Bay defense as it lines up this afternoon. In the outfield, left to right, to Jesus, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, we've got Longoria, Cabrera, Beckham, and Forsythe, with Rene Rivera behind the plate.
And here's Torrey Hunter, really back where his big league career started, in Minnesota with the Twins. Had a great long run here. Now at the age of 39, he is back and playing as if he were 29.
He really is. I mean, his average right around his career numbers. He's got the 6 home runs. He's driven in 21. And an offensive leader for this Twins team.
Low, popping away. Start of a move, but Dozier decided not to go.
Well, and Alex Colomé right now struggling with release point. You know, the fastball that he is trying to throw away to the right-handed hitter. He's been holding on to it just a little bit too long, yanking him off the plate. The breaking ball there, held on to it a little bit too long, right into the dirt. Trying to find the sweet spot.
There's a strike on the outer part of the plate. 2-1.
Oh, and even that one was borderline.
You know, Jerry Meals, who's calling the balls and strikes, will call that pitch away from a right-handed hitter. He likes it up and away for a strike more than down and away. And he also likes the pitch in, and he'll give you an inch or two off the plate into a right-handed hitter.
Well, that would be a pitcher's dream then. If you're going to give
pretty
me
good places to go.
Oh my gosh! And if you give me both sides, you know, you'll see some umpires, they'll give you an inch or two on one side of the plate, but typically it's not on both.
Ooh, that's close. 3-1.
That's that fastball again away. It just yanking it a little bit too far. Got one call out there, but unless he's going to be consistently closer to the strike zone, that's what it's going to be every now and then.
Yeah, to get that call with Meals, you've got to be on the plate. Foul ball deflecting off Rivera.
Rivera, you can almost read his lips if you speak Spanish. Not real happy about this.
I mean, that's almost a direct shot.
Boy, he yanked that mask off like, you son of a gun. That thing is okay, making sure that everything is in place.
Take a look at this full speed. He's talking to it. Now the 3-2 to Hunter. A couple of full counts here with the runner going, and Hunter sends a pop fly to shallow right. Souza coming in and going out. That ball's going to drop out of the reach of Beckham. They'll still go to second and get the force on Dozier. Boy, I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, you knew there was trouble brewing with the way that Souza Jr. reacted to that fly ball. He was running in slow, then all of a sudden started to pick it up like he just wasn't reading it. Maybe the wind was taking it. I'm not sure, but this is a play. You see, Beckham was at second base. He's slow to react. Souza Jr. just, yeah, he's got to have that. He's got to have that, be camped underneath that ball and make the play. He had to come a long way, but you could see he's got a good beat on it, and then it falls right in front of him. Maybe a late distraction from Beckham Jr., but no communication there. Ray's fortunate to get that force play.
Yeah, here's Joe Mauer. Pitch is low to him. So Dozier out at second, and Hunter reaches with that high pop fly, dropping into shallow right. Turns out to be a fielder's choice. One and one on Joe Mauer. Rays start the day at 20-17. Second in the East. The Twins are 20-16. Third in the Central. Two balls and a strike. Mauer with 19 runs batted in. No home runs for Mauer. 8 doubles and a couple triples. By the mound to short. Out at second. Cabrera's throw to Forsythe for the double play. We've completed one full inning. No score from Minnesota. you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Kaiser University. For more information, go to kaiseruniversity.edu. Braves are facing 25-year-old right-hander Trevor May. James Loney, who is the DH for Kevin Cash, will lead it off. Loney, Forsythe, and DeJesus. There's a liner into right, and coming for it is Hunter. Line drive off the bat of Loney. One away here.
Well, he's been doing that for a long time. Torrey Hunter playing the outfield, robbing hitters. This is balls well struck by James Loney.
Hunter out there has 9 gold gloves. He could have one for each position if he wanted them. They've all come in the outfield. 9 of them. Forsythe takes a strike.
Well, you saw the adjustment that he was able to make late on that line drive from Loney, that it carried a little bit more than he thought it would. So he makes adjustments, good jumps, tremendous arm.
Popped into center. Hicks calling for this one. Forsythe is the second out. A couple of quick outs in inning 2. Here's David DeJesus. David hitting .301, belted his 3rd home run of the year, his first time up last night. No ball, no strikes. No, 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Last time out for May was on the road in Cleveland. The Indians got him for 6 runs, 9 hits in 4 innings. The time before that, he took a 2-1 loss, gave up 2 runs to Oakland here in 5 2/3 on 5 hits.
Well, he's been chewing on a cruddy outing sandwich because the first start of his season was really bad. His last start against the Indians that you just referenced, really bad. But the 4 in between, 2-1 with an ERA just over 3.
Yeah, he pitched the Twins home opener against Kansas City, and they beat him 12-3. And he strikes out DeJesus. It's 1-2-3 for the Rays for the 2nd consecutive inning. Atlanta, a 5-game trip. Today's Buick big matchup. Trevor Plouffe has reached now in 24 consecutive games, hitting .260 for the year. And he's also one of those guys who, with men in scoring position, has been very good. He is hitting .300 right on the button.
Well, this team, you know, started the season 1-6, and since then have played very well, and that's been one of the categories where they've thrived. Runners in scoring position. Trevor Plouffe leading the way. One of the guys leading the way.
2-0. He's ahead in the count. Suzuki next, and then Escobar. Twins hitting .292 with men in scoring position so far this year. And Colomé falls behind. He had a couple of 3-2 counts in the first inning. Got a double play ball. And now he's behind Plouffe 3-0.
Still searching for that release point. You know, you could see him still yanking the fastball. That last one was up and in as he tries to adjust.
And the green light, the big cut by Plouffe.
You know, this has always been one of those things that has hindered Alex Colomé throughout his career is the walk, pitching from behind. But, you know, coming into this start, even though he had, you know, the last one didn't go as well as he would like, he just had one walk on the season.
Yeah, that's what was so exciting about that first start he made against Baltimore. I mean, he had it all together, everything working.
And it was both sides of the plate. I mean, it wasn't like he was good in one area. He was good all around.
High shot to center. Kiermaier still on the grass is there and makes the catch. So Plouffe skies to Kiermaier for the first out.
That was a nice comeback by Alex Colomé, and you hope that that can kind of springboard him going forward after being down 3-0. Comes back and gets the out.
There's the breakout on his 3 outings. You see at the bottom, the one against Baltimore. Very good. Good outing against Boston. Not quite as sharp as he was against Baltimore, and then struggled against the Yankees.
That was that start where every mistake that he made, the Yankees hit hard. I mean, very hard. In fact, it was to the point where Kevin Cash, you know, when the game was over, they went back and looked at some film, thought maybe Colomé was tipping, and came back and said, no, wasn't that. Just one of those nights. You know, sometimes you have those nights where your mistakes don't get missed.
Their outs were hard in that game.
Yeah. Start to fear for the safety of your infielders.
Yeah, that old saying, get the married men off the field. Well, they were hot that night. That's going to be a base hit to the right field side of second. And Beckham shaded on the other side. And Suzuki is aboard.
We talk about beating the shift, and he had the right pitch to do it. And the way that the defense was set up, Suzuki got a slider moving away, and he just goes right with it. And with Tim Beckham, you see where Beckham's at, he's not going to be able to get to it.
It brings up the shortstop, Eduardo Escobar. Suzuki back in. Well, Escobar, one of 3 switch hitters in the lineup today. They had all 4 in last night. First pitch strike. toward the middle and past the diving Cabrera. Suzuki stops at second.
That was a changeup there by Colomé, and because that pitch stayed up in the zone, it allowed Escobar to recognize it. Once he recognizes it, watch how he stays back. Foot goes down, but the hands stay back. And that's what allowed him to hit that ball with authority. Recognition, slow everything up, and then explode through the baseball.
Twins with 2 men on in the second inning for Eddie Rosario. Rosario starting in left field today. 22 years old. He split last year between Fort Myers and New Britain. That's A and AA. Strike one. Two. Rays with another rookie starting.
Let's put our percentage at
42%. How's that? 16 of the 38 games started by rookies.
It's my favorite stat in our pack.
Left center. The run will score, and the runners go to second and third. Kiermaier got there. Suzuki's going to score, and with the throw through, now 2 more men are in scoring position.
And Kevin Kiermaier is kicking himself out in center field right now, because you're right, Suzuki's going to score. The other runners had already held up and given themselves up as far as staying at first and second. But then this throw, just too aggressive, and then everybody starts to run again. And that is a big mistake.
The base hit for Rosario, number 1 on an 0-2 pitch. Driving in the run, and on the throw back in, now 2 men in scoring position with only 1 out for Aaron Hicks, and the infield has to come in.
It's going to be tough to get the ground ball too, because Colomé cannot get the ball down with any consistency. Just has not been able to find command at all.
Here's ball 1. Now 1-1.
Hey, that's what you want. Hey, boy.
Way in. So he's struggling with a 2-1 count.
You know that Jim Hickey right now concerned not so much the game plan, but just getting Alex Colomé right to be able to make a pitch. It has been a struggle. You'll see him out there before too long if he doesn't right the ship.
It's a strike. 2-2. Trying to rebound after the tough outing against New York. Struggling with his command today. That's down to Forsythe, who makes the play, and the runners forced to remain at second and third.
Well, what a huge play that was. That gets you your second out. And now just retire the hitter any way possible and keep this as a 1-run deficit.
Well, if the Rays can do that, this will have been a moral victory here in this inning.
Boy, you're not kidding. And you go back to the bench and regroup. Maybe Hickey's got some words of advice, Rene Rivera, to try to get Colomé fixed, but it'd be huge.
Here's Danny Santana. He has a good bat. And the pitch is a strike. Santana had the big triple in the 7th inning last night. Triple chased home the 2nd run, and then he scored what turned out to be the winner on a sacrifice fly. It's 1-1.
You know, if you just wonder if he, after showing bunt the first pitch of that sequence from Jake Odorizzi, if he didn't lull the Rays to sleep into thinking, listen, he's going to bunt, let him get the bunt down. We've got a defense to set up for you. Remember, Evan Longoria came in to talk to Odorizzi to set that defense for the potential bunt.
A little looper, short center. That's a base hit. Rosario follows Escobar across the plate. Both men score, and it's 3-0.
Broken bat, no less. Danny Santana just flopping that ball into shallow center field. And just out of the reach of Cabrera.
Back around to the top of the order. Santana driving in 2. Brian Dozier in the batter's box. Over to first, and they picked him off. Santana picked off first to retire the side. Damage done. And let's see, Molitor, Paul Molitor comes out of the dugout.
Doesn't matter, I don't think. Don't lean.
Waiting for more information from the video source, and he says, go ahead, boys. So at the end of 2, it's 3-0 Minnesota. The Rays. Our T-Mobile game changer is Drupal Cabrera, already with 1,000 hits, and today playing his 1,000th career game.
And you know he's happy about that. Over 1,000 hits before the 1,000th game.
That's always a good sign. So he's leading off, takes that first pitch. Let's check in with Emily. She has more on that.
Dwayne, I was talking with Kat happy before the game. He said he remembers his very first game on August 8, 2007, when he was playing for the Cleveland Indians. It was a game in Chicago. I asked him, what has he learned about the game over the next 1,000 games? He said, well, I've learned something new every day about this game. I've gotten more confident, but the biggest lesson, that this is not an easy game. It just doesn't get easier. And he said, I'm getting old, so I still have to work even harder almost every day.
Well, he hits this one a long way off the wall out by the scoreboard. And as it bounces away from both Hunter and Hicks, he winds up at third with a leadoff triple coming on an 0-2 pitch.
We'll have to have Emily ask him after the game, what did he learn today? I think the early front runner is Trevor May can't get me out. Well, he hammers this pitch. Boy, middle, and he gets underneath it with some lift and gets a little help here from the wall. That ball bounds away. That gives him an extra 90 feet.
His third triple of the year. So the Rays trying to answer the 3 Minnesota runs over the first 2 innings. Tim Beckham takes a strike. Well, a big opportunity here, getting their first base runner and a triple with nobody out.
More than anything, it energizes the dugout. You know, you've got a pitcher out there that's struggling. The Twins, you know, able to score a run early, then add 2 more, you know, with 2 outs when you're thinking maybe you can get out of that inning. And now if you can answer, it's going to help the morale in that dugout.
That puts Beckham behind 0-2. On deck is Rene Rivera. Rays facing Trevor May. He was originally with the Phillies organization. Spent parts of a couple years in the Tampa Bay area pitching in Clearwater. And then by 2013 was dealt to the Twins organization. And he gets a big strikeout. Beckham is strikeout number 3 for May.
Well, and that I think was the changeup, 85 miles an hour down and away, and you can see Tim Beckham reaching, can't reach that far.
Now it's up to Rene Rivera with 1 out and a man at third. Talked about the lift it would give the dugout if the Rays do score this run. If they fail to score the run, then the opposite is true. 1-0 the count.
That's the fear. You cannot allow that to happen.
Rivera up in the count, 2-0. All of these Rays hitters getting their first look ever at Trevor May. It's always one thing to get a scouting report, maybe see the video of a guy, another thing to actually see him.
Well, that absolutely is it in a nutshell. I mean, they can tell you, hey, listen, likes a slider here, fastball's got a little run, he'll use both sides of the plate, all this stuff. Oh, great. But until I see the ball come out of his hand, and that's usually, for most guys, first time through.
Here's the life of a catcher. He's already taken a shot behind the plate, and that one was directly to the left knee.
And he's got the pad on it already, because this has happened previously. And boy, thank goodness it hits the pad, but still, he's still smarting from it. anytime you ran a fastball in on a guy who pounded it off his own fit, his own knee, showed that kind of bit, come right back in there. They don't want to swing at that pitch.
And if they do, their body's not going to let them.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you that you go right back in.
There's a pop-up. Mauer at first into foul territory. So now 2 outs, and Cabrera is still at third. So this becomes a big at-bat for Kevin Kiermaier. Trying to pick up at least one here in this inning after the leadoff triple by Cabrera. Pops it up. Kloof into foul territory, and the Rays are going to leave that runner stranded at third. Bottom of the third inning coming. 3-0 Minnesota. There when the Rays host the Athletics and the Jacksons perform #1 hits such as ABC and I Want You Back. For more information, please visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts. We go to the top of the order here in the bottom of the third for Minnesota. Dozier was set to hit in the second when Santana was picked off first. And Alex Colomé still attempting to settle in today. That's strike one to Dozier. There's a foul ball off Rivera. Boy, what a day it's been already for Rene Rivera, and it's only the bottom of the third. Are you kidding me?
You know what? Yeah, you just take that mask off and just restart.
Two strikes the count.
Oh.
And that one gets Dozier.
And I don't think, obviously, no intent at all. It's just that Alex Colomé has just been had trouble finding the strike zone. That pitches have been all over the place. You can see him trying to make the adjustment and just has not been able to do so.
Leadoff man aboard. Here's Torrey Hunter. It's down. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, a number of things to frustrate the Rays here. Here's a hit batter with an 0-2 count. Eddie Rosario drove in the first of the 3 runs in the second with an 0-2 count. Rays had a man at third with nobody out in the top of the third and couldn't get him home. And Rene Rivera is taking a beating behind the plate, and even when he hits,
he's not found anywhere safe yet this afternoon. Well, really, nobody in this Rays team has.
Base hit to right for Hunter. Dozier advances to second.
Everything up. Everything is up. And you see Torrey Hunter reaching for that pitch. And you're saying, well, if he's going to pull it, not so bad for the Rays. But instead, being the good hitter that he is, he just goes right with it. Kind of like Brian Dozier did. And just takes it the other way. That ball well off the plate, too.
Two on. Now Joe Mauer. Mauer grounded into a double play his first time. And that's a strike. One ball, one strike. Colome, who has been unbeaten on the road through 6 outings, 5 of those starts, has been troubled today. Nobody out here in the third. Mauer, the third man up in this inning, third man in their order. Ground ball by the mound. That's Cabrera 1 and Forsythe 2. So they get the double play, and Dozier advances to third.
Well, they got Joe Mauer the same way they got him last time, almost in the same exact spot. As Drupal Cabrera unassisted, and then over to Forsythe to finish this play off. And Mauer knows he's in trouble as soon as he makes contact. Pretty routine. Just what the Rays needed.
There's Trevor Plouffe. Strike one. Plouffe with 5 home runs on the year. Came into the game hitting .260 and even .300 with men in scoring position. One and two.
Dwayne, could you imagine the possibilities on this team if Boof Bonds are still played?
It would be great.
I mean, you could have
a marketing bonanza.
Boof and Ploof. You could open a restaurant. I'd eat there.
Fly ball, center field. At the track, Kiermaier makes the catch. So a man left on base. We're through 3, and it's still 3-0 Minnesota. Future Hall of Famer Jim Palmer served notice that he was headed to the Hall of Fame, pitching 3 2/3 innings in relief, picking up his first major league game and win when the Orioles defeated the Yankees 7-5. He was only 19. The Orioles rookie right-hander made the day even more memorable when he hit a 2-run homer off Jim Bouton in the 4th inning. So there was no question that he was Hall of Fame bound.
We didn't get to see him first time around the East. Kind of missed talking with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, we missed our trip to Baltimore.
Yep. He didn't make the trip down to the Trop.
Home run off Jim Bouton.
And 3 2/3 or whatever it was, scoreless.
Mm-hmm.
At 19.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Maybe he had a choice whether he wanted to be an everyday player or a pitcher.
We'll ask him.
Mm-hmm.
Have to get to the park early that day.
Three-1 the count. This one lined foul into the seats to run it full. To the shortstop, Escobar, who throws a strike.
Did you see how
Sousa's out of there? Yeah,
you know, and we see that a lot. Sousa Jr., listen, he never concedes anything going down the first base line. Tries to make plays at first base close. He's got a number of infield hits, but I'll tell you what, there's some times where he hits first base awkwardly. And that time he did it again. You just hope he doesn't end up, as he reaches and jumps towards the bag, end up hurting himself. You see, it went for a long way there. I'll tell you, those bags do not give.
Yeah, there's a great shot of that there. 2-0.
Well, you got to love the effort and the hustle, no question about it.
But the Rays have had enough injuries already.
Yeah.
Longoria fouls it straight back. It's 2-1. Foul just outside of third to even the count. Twins with 3 runs, 5 hits. The Rays, no runs on 1 hit. A leadoff triple by Asdrubal Cabrera in the third, and he was left on. That's a liner. Fair ball up the left field line. Kicks out off the sidewall. Longoria on his way to second. He is in there. Double for Longoria. That's his 10th of the season.
Boy, how in the world does Longoria keep that thing fair? He was way out in front of an off-speed pitch. A changeup right here. He drops that just fair, but then the low wall gives Rosario a chance. Right to him. Good arm.
Well, the Rays with another man in scoring position. Yeah, second base doesn't give either.
No, all the way around.
And the Twins want to take a look at that. So we have a challenge.
And I didn't see anything definitive. And then what they're going to take a look at is when Evan Longoria slides in, that lead foot hits the bag and then pops off of the bag. So there for a split second, Evan is not in contact with second base. Did Brian Dozier continue to have the tag on him? That's what we're going to find out. You'll see right here as he slides in what we're talking about. Got to be clear and convincing, and I don't think you're going to find it. Not from that angle.
See Jordan Baker right on top of the play at second. So the Twins with a challenge here on Longoria's double.
Stands. Yeah. He's going to go right back out to second. Jerry Meals is going to come off and say he's safe.
They're taking a good look at it, apparently. Talking it over with this challenge. You know, later in the day, we were talking about Baltimore earlier, they're running to Preakness.
Pimlico.
And it's going to be an interesting race over there. You know, I like who's it? Z-Man? Mr. Z, yeah. Yeah, you can get some pretty good odds on him. I think he's got a shot.
I'm still upset that the lead-in for the horse race is the Lightning game against the Rangers. That's the lead-in.
Yeah.
If I'm the NHL, I'm like, excuse me, I'm going to take an Eastern Conference final, Game 1, against Tampa Bay versus the New York Rangers, and I'm going to make that a lead-in for a 2-minute race? I don't think so.
Well, they come out of this with a safe call. So Longoria remains out there at second base with indeed his 10th double of the year.
Good. That saves my whole rant about the horse thing.
There's time for both, and we're very interested in both of those.
You could run the horse race at 6 o'clock and drop the puck at 6:10. There's your lead in. Your 2-minute race, you show it a couple more times, and then you go to hockey.
Well, you could take over programming, too. First pitch to James Loney.
I'm just glad they let me up here. I'm hanging on by a thread.
Clearing out that office right now. Putting in a couple extra windows. To the count. Liner into right. There's a base hit. Longoria is going to be held at third. And Hunter's throw a one-hopper to the plate. You don't mess with that.
It goes back to your comment earlier, the gold gloves, 9 of them. That's part of it. Strong arm, and boy, did he. First of all, nice job by Loney. Ball that's up. He lines it into right field, but then the throw by Torrey Hunter, the perfect one hop. No chance.
Well, here's another opportunity for the Rays now. They managed to hold the Twins to 3. They missed an opportunity to chip away in the third, but now first and third with 1 out in the 4th for Logan Forsythe. See what they can do with this. The ball, no strikes. One and one now to Forsythe. Trevor May, the right-hander. That's a strike there on a pitch up, and now it's 1-2.
Indecision on that swing there late by Forsythe. I think he's thinking, listen, a ball that's elevated, something you can get into the outfield, stay out of the double play, try to get that run home, and didn't get it started quick enough.
Little piece of it foul. Forsythe up here right now with David DeJesus on deck, hoping to get a chance to face May here in the 4th. Forsythe fouls another one out of play. Logan 0 for 3, had a walk last night. Playing first base today. He's been a productive hitter and has played all over the infield. And a good take on the pitch down, blocked by Suzuki.
Boy, and Suzuki almost let that ball get underneath the glove. He almost tried to backhand this and was fortunate it caught the tip of the glove. I could have squeezed right between the legs. That would have been a run.
So May slowing the pace with a couple of runners out there. That's a foul ball behind Longoria. Coming up to the 8th pitch of this at bat. Logan's had a good run here for 2 weeks. He's hit .333 over the last couple of weeks. And another foul ball. Boy, this has been one of those grind and grind and grind games for the Rays, while trying to keep the Twins within reach.
Hang on, and try to get something to pop. Maybe right here. Because this has not been a pretty day so far for the Rays, but that can start to be turned around here.
2-2 again. And a foul ball one more time. So another extended at bat here for Forsythe. Tenth pitch of the at bat is a breaking ball wide. And we go to 3-2.
Boy, this has been a really good at bat. Fouling off some tough pitches, taking that to get to full.
Runner takes off, and the pitch skied back toward the left field corner. Rosario on the run. He'll make the catch. Tag at third. Longoria is headed to the plate, and back to first goes Loney. And the Rays finally get a run on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Logan Forsythe. What a catch by Rosario toward the left field corner. And with Loney breaking on that pitch, he had to hightail it back to first.
Well, that's trust in Logan Forsythe by Kevin Cash. He's going to put the ball in play while you would send Loney, but then he almost gets hung up. Great play here by Rosario. Had to cover a lot of ground. Longoria, easy tag up, and James Loney with the scramble to get back. He still doesn't know. Going to round second, and then
Well, David DeJesus takes a pitch inside. Well, Trevor May has made a lot of pitches in this inning. 26 pitches right now, after making 33 in the first 3 combined. DeJesus ahead in the count. Suzuki goes to the hill. Well, if nothing else, just let him catch his breath after this many pitches in the inning. And that 11 pitch at bat for Forsythe, a major part of it. So it hasn't been easy for the Rays, but they do have a run, and they've cut the deficit to 2. DeJesus fouls it. Well, the Rays had not seen May before, but they're seeing a lot of pitches from him in this inning.
Well, and you know, you want to get into this Twins bullpen. We saw last night Glenn Perkins at the back end. He's been flawless, but the rest of this bullpen as a whole, one of the worst earned run averages in the American League.
Line drive and a base hit into right for DeJesus. And that moves Loney up to second.
You mentioned earlier about the Rays' first look at Trevor May. Now second time through, you're seeing better at-bats, better contact. And he'll get a visit here from Neil Allen.
Yeah, get a look at Neil Allen, who was in the Rays system for an extended period, the last 4 years at AAA Durham, and prior to that 3 years at Montgomery. And Neil Allen Allen getting the pitching coach job here in Minnesota with the changes that they've made.
Well, you start to look at the pitchers that have come up through the Rays system and what they've done once they've gotten to the big league level, and you're like, okay, who is down there helping to develop these guys? Go get him.
Well, they're renewing acquaintance with Alex Colomé.
Well, the problem is he was telling him, I want you to throw it over here and then up and over here.
He said, remember all the things I told you when we were together down there? Forget all that.
I was full of it.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. He tripled on an 0-2 pitch his first time up. And taps this one foul, strike one. That's the 30th pitch of this inning for May. Strike on the inside corner. He's down 0-2 again. Upstairs. Well, Cabrera down 1-2, and with this next pitch, May will have made as many pitches in this one inning as he made in the first 3 innings combined. Little looper, left side. Will it be fair? Foul ball. Well, that had a chance to maybe get a run home, but it's a foul ball. In this game today and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Cabrera sends a fly ball into right, and Hunter's there to catch it. And out of all of that, the Rays get 1 run and leave 2. It's a 2-run ball game. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Courtesy Toyota, you'll love what we do for you. Minnie and Paul casting a 46-foot shadow over Target Field.
That's one of my favorite things of this stadium. Love this stadium, but that out in center field, right dead center field.
We try to follow the example they set daily.
We even tried to pose.
Yeah, that's out there somewhere. Make a good Christmas card.
You're onto something.
First pitch here in the bottom of the fourth. Kurt Suzuki takes it low. 1 ball, no strikes. Oh, there you go.
It's and right between. I think it works.
Yep. Wishing you and yours only the best. Two and 0 the count.
I think I had a little too much of a lean going. They're playing the part of St. Paul.
Yeah. Minnie's got a little lean.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. I had a little too much. Maybe we can do it again tomorrow.
A couple of perfectionists. Kurt Suzuki up here. Down to first. Right there is Forsythe to take care of it. 1 away. Colomé found runners at first and third with nobody out in the third. Got Maurer to hit into his second double play of the day, and then got Plouffe on the fly ball to center. And now he's retired the leadoff man here in the fourth, trying to smooth some things out today for Colomé out there on the mound. There's a first pitch strike to Escobar.
Well, at this point, you're just trying to pitch to keep your team close, to give the offense for the Rays an opportunity to continue to chip away. And it has not been easy going all day for Alex, but you continue to try to find a way.
Well, that's where the competing element comes in. You know, the first 3 innings, not necessarily momentum builders for the Rays, but you keep at it. They finally took them 34 pitches in the 4th inning to get 1 run and leave 2. But that's 1 run that you didn't have before, and now the deficit is only 2. Hot shot off the mitt of Forsythe into right. And now here goes the runner trying to advance to second. And Escobar is safe.
Kevin Cash, yeah, that's a close enough play to get out there and at least take a look. But the hustle of Escobar after that ball deflected off Logan Forsythe into shallow right field. A daring decision. We'll see if it paid off. This ball was hit hard. Logan Forsythe more protecting himself than looking for an out. And Souza Jr. going to come up throwing.
And again, it's Jordan Baker on a close play there at second base. So Escobar winds up at second. And that's going to be it for Alex Colomé. Escobar turning on the speed.
Yep. Got in there.
We'll be back with the new Rays pitcher in a moment. Canada Field Sunday, May 24th. Rays take on the Athletics at a 1:10 game, and kids 14 and under receive a Rays camo tank top while supplies last. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Alex Colomé out of this game and didn't appear to be all that pleased with the move. But he struggled through 3 1/3, 60 pitches.
Well, and you saw Charlie Montoyo down there talking to the young starter for the Rays, and I think you're right. He wanted to continue to stay out there and battle, but it just was not going his way.
Andrew Bellotti takes over on the mound as he faces Eddie Rosario.
Pretty nifty debut there.
Yes, it was against Texas. 3 1/3 of one hit baseball, walked 1 and struck out 2. 2-0. So it's been a week. That outing against Texas was last Saturday.
Yeah, and such is the life of the long man in the bullpen, the spot starter. Tough to get regular work.
Two balls and a strike. Well, he won his first time out for the Rays in his major league debut. And the last Rays pitcher to do that was our own Doug Wechter.
How about that?
Foul ball. Now 2-2. Wechter did that not as a starter, but in a relief appearance, and those are few. The Rays have actually had 10 pitchers get wins in their major league debuts, and out of the bullpen 3. Full count. And ball 4. First and second with 1 out. Doug Wechter won his game in an outing against Seattle in August of 2003. And Bellotti got his first big league win out of the bullpen against Texas. Hicks, fly ball center field, charged by Kiermaier. He's got it, and a throw back to second, close. But back in there safely is Escobar.
And I think initially Kevin Kiermaier wanted to go to first base. That was going to be the better shot, but Forsythe had come into the center of the diamond, so he goes back against the body. Nice strong one-hop throw. Made that play pretty close, I think.
2 gone. And it's Danny Santana. There's a strike. Santana drove in 2 runs with a base hit into center in the second inning, and that's the difference in the game right now. 0-2. '23-year-old right-hander Andrew Bellotti. Will be out of play. A foul ball. Runner at second belongs to Colomé. Rosario at first. Bellotti's responsibility. Another popper headed for the seats. Foul. Again. A two-strike battle going on between Bellotti and Santana.
Well, that's been kind of the theme of the day. This has been a slow slog for both of these teams. Trying to get something going. Not very many clean innings, if at all. Well, the first inning, top of the first.
And he got him. Strikes him out, leaving two men on. Take a look at the strikeout pitch, taking care of Santana. 3-1 through 4, Minnesota. Jersey Day coming Friday, May 22nd. Do you have your new Majestic Cool Base jersey? It has moisture wicking and breathable stretch fabric, so you always keep your cool in the stands. Check it out at the Rays downtown Tampa store or the Majestic Clubhouse team store at Tropicana Field.
I want the next time that you and I get shirts made.
Yes.
I want our shirts made with moisture wicking technology, because that sounds pretty cool.
It does. Make a note of that and send it up the ladder, up the chain of command.
I could use a moisture wicking headband from time to time.
One and one. Rays facing Trevor May, the big right-hander. It was slow going in the fourth, but they did manage to get a run out of May. Chopped to third. Plouffe gloves and throws. That's the first out in the 5th. Here's Rene Rivera. Somehow his body is still in one piece.
Tough.
After the beating he took in the first 3 innings of this game. Coming out to hit in the 5th. One ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Mays from the Pacific Northwest, from Kelso, Washington. Pop fly, short right toward the line. Hunter. 2 outs. Now Kevin Kiermaier bats. A couple of quick outs here in contrast to the 4th inning, which required 34 pitches from May. And a first pitch strike. That is a base hit getting through the left side of the infield. Kiermaier makes a turn and stops at first.
Boy, well done by Kevin Kiermaier, taking that ball that's down and away. You can't lift that pitch and you can't pull it. And if you're going to go after it, the only thing that you do is you go the other way. And with his speed getting out of the box, look at him just slap that ball in the hole like a true leadoff hitter. And now do you send him? Good speed, but we haven't seen him translate that into being a real stolen base threat yet.
Yeah, no steals at all and only 1 attempt this year.
Yep. And that just goes to show you that stolen bases is not about speed. It certainly helps, and you have to have a certain amount of it to be able to swipe a bag, but you've got to be able to read pitchers. You've got to be able to get jumps. Kevin Kiermaier runs as well as anybody on this team, maybe better than anybody. And like you said, 1 attempt.
May keeping an eye on him.
It just gives you appreciation when you think about what Ricky Henderson did. 130.
Yeah.
I mean, 130 in a year. That's insanity.
High shot. That ball well hit, but it's well foul.
And how about being so good that everybody knows you're going?
Yes.
And you may go from first to third, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yep. Yeah, you break that down into portions of seconds between success and failure. Whether you're trying to steal a base or whether you're trying to prevent it.
Our esteemed colleagues in the truck have just informed me how many times he was caught that year, which is pretty astounding too. 42 caught steals. He had 172 attempts.
Did you put your feet up at the end of the season?
Things are smoking. Leaning.
There he goes. The pitch is a strike, and he is in there with a stolen base. Got an off-speed pitch and steals second.
Well, you could see that coming. He's still down out there over second base. I don't know if he caught something funny on the bag, but he was leaning and then off and running. He steals this easy. Did we have an errant tag?
I think we did. As we we've seen before in a couple cases today, those bases do not give. And Kiermaier appears to be all right. A lot of interested bystanders in that get together. Two strikes the count on Steven Souza Jr. And he fouls it back. Souza sends a fly ball to right. Hunter makes the catch and the Rays leave. Kiermaier on second. It's 3-1 Minnesota. It's Family Fun Day at Tropicana Field when the Rays take on the Athletics Sunday, May 24th. And after the game, singer-songwriter Cody Simpson performs his top hits, including New Problems and Flower. All fans will have access to the field for the concert at no extra cost. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Top of the order, Brian Dozier leading off here in the bottom of the fifth. It'll be Dozier, Hunter, and Mauer. 1-0 the count. Andrew Bellotti on the hill in relief of Alex Colomé. Colomé worked 3 1/3, gave up 3 runs, 6 hits, walked a man, hit a man, made 60 pitches. Now Bellotti is behind Dozier. It's 3-0. Ball 4. The Dozier heads to first. Twins have had runners in every inning. The Rays have had men on base. In fact, the last 3 innings they've had men in scoring position. They've put men all over the place, but have scored only 1 run. Now Torrey Hunter. Strike 1 to Hunter. One ball, 1 strike. So we mentioned it's been a week since Bellatti's been out there. He had been stretched out at AAA Durham to 76 pitches a couple times. The last time a little over 2 weeks ago on the 29th of April. Runner goes, pitch hit toward the middle, backhanded. Beckham's going to go to first, and that's quite a play to get Hunter. Dozier on the move, arrives at second. No play there. And Beckham turned in a heck of a play.
Well, it looked like a hit and run in order with Dozier moving, and then Torrey Hunter's going to swing at this ball. But what it does is with Dozier moving, you have both infielders converging in the center, and all of a sudden that puts Tim Beckham in position to make a nice play.
Well, Joe Mauer up twice is grounded into a double play. This time he's up there with a man at second base and 1 out.
I think that's why they ran Dozier, to stay out of the double play for Mauer. And they've been carbon copies of each other.
Mauer hitting .385 with runners in scoring position. Part of that group of 4 hitters back to back to back to back. But Paul Molitor has put in this lineup, and they've gotten solid production with men in scoring position from them. One. Rays dropped the first game last night 3-2 in the first meeting of the year between these two teams. Runner goes, throw down to third, going to get him. He is out down there. So Dozier caught trying to steal third. Rivera down to Longoria.
Well, that's one of those opportunities that Dozier takes to try to get a stolen base, and Rene Rivera came out firing. Quick out of his crouch, a good throw, and Evan Longoria slaps that tag on the left shoulder. That's got to be such a great feeling as a catcher. Guy taking off, and you just come up out of your crouch and hose him. Like, what are you thinking?
Ground ball right side, going to sneak through. And Mauer's aboard with a 2-out single. Another base runner for the Twins. Twins have to be a little frustrated. They've had men on the bases and so far have capitalized with just the 3-run second. No strikes. High fly ball back into deep left. DeJesus just at the edge of the grass in front of the track. Hauls it in. A man left or through 5, and it's 3-1 Minnesota. second. They got their first run when Eddie Rosario singled into left, scoring Kurt Suzuki. 1 out later, it was Danny Santana driving in the other two with Escobar and Rosario scoring. Rays have been battling leading men on base, but in the 4th inning, they got a double from Longoria and eventually a sacrifice fly off the bat of Logan Forsythe. And we're headed into the 6th inning. The Rays facing Trev May. And through 5 innings, they have just the 1 run on 5 hits.
Trev's been battling all afternoon.
They forced him to 34 pitches in the 4th. Here's a ball hit the other way by Longoria, and Hunter is there to make the catch. So 1 pitch, 1 out in the 6th inning. Emily Austin has a good vantage point from up there.
You're right, Dwayne. I'm up here at the Budweiser deck. This is my first time to Target Field, so I'm doing a little bit of exploring. It's a lot windier up here. You can see the sun trying to peek through here and there, but as long as it doesn't rain, I think we're going to be good. I think it might be better for BA to do a hit up here because I have a little bit of a nature blow dryer, so it's pretty windy up here.
But a great view for sure.
Would not affect me one bit.
No.
Just go up there streamlined and let her rip.
Maloney hitting with the bases empty and 1 out. Maloney pops it up right side. And Mauer waits for this one at first. 2 gone.
You know, actually that was an informative hit by Emily, but because we've seen a number of fly balls that have looked to be off the bat hit very well, but they've been tall, and it's like the wind is knocking them down, not even getting to the warning track. We saw a couple to center. We just saw the one by Plouffe to left.
Yeah, where you see those pennants blowing in, that's right adjacent almost to where she was.
Yep. So you get that ball up high enough, and you're hurting yourself.
Forsythe looks at a strike. Two gone, base is empty. Forsythe with his 16th run batted into the year, taking over the lead. He's behind in the count, 1-2. Two and two. Went back into the screen. It's still 2-2. Fly ball toward right center field. Hicks cutting back toward the track on the run. He got it. Wow. Covered a lot of ground and went to the warning track in right center field to take that extra base hit bid away from Forsythe. Oh, look at that catch by the Minnesota center fielder. It's 3-1. Twins lead. Trends. Rays have given up the 3 runs today on 7 hits. Rays pitching continues to be very solid. Second in ERA, first in opponents' batting average against. Third in strikeouts, walks and hits per innings pitched. Right there among the leaders as well.
It all sets you up to be in every single game that you play, or most every game that you play, if you can pitch that well, and they have.
1-0 to Kurt Suzuki.
And even today, when they haven't pitched so well, they've done enough to hang around.
Colomé gone after 3 1/3, but it was a struggle for him today. And now Bellotti is behind Suzuki 3-0. Ball 4. So for the second straight inning, he walks the leadoff man on 4 pitches. And that's 3 walks. He walked the first man he faced in the 4th, Rosario, when he inherited Escobar at second. And now leadoff walk in the 5th to Dozier, and a leadoff walk in the 6th to Suzuki.
Yeah, very.
Well, you just don't want to do that with that frequency.
No, it's a dangerous way to live, and it worked out the last half, but it'll come back to bite you.
Escobar's 2 for 2. And another miss low, and out to the mound goes Rivera.
Well, this is where the veteran catcher will try to jump out in front of an issue. Words of encouragement, maybe some instruction, saying, hey, listen, let's go after these guys. Your stuff is good enough. Throw it out over the plate. We'll work out from there.
This time last year, Bellotti was at Montgomery at the AA level. And he misses for the 6th straight pitch to begin the bottom of the 6th. It's really been remarkable that the Rays pitching has continued to be as good as it has been, with the absence of some of their key pitchers, and now the injuries to those who they had anticipated getting back.
Well, Cobb hasn't been around and just had surgery. Matt Moore recovering, has not been around. Drew Smiley they had for 3 starts.
Yep.
And yet, you know, right there at the top of all those categories, it is pretty amazing.
Hot shot past Forsythe. He just got a glove on it to slow it. Suzuki heads to third. They'll stop him, and it's a double for Escobar. His 3rd hit of this game.
Wow, he roped that, and Logan Forsythe, you know, he's holding the runner on Suzuki, and as he comes off the bag, this ball just gets popped right down, gets on him in a hurry. We've seen him under siege down there at first base with a couple hard hit balls down and into a lefty, and a shot right off the glove. Well, you just wonder if he doesn't get his glove on that, if that thing hooks foul. That's some hooking action.
Well, Escobar's hit 2 shots down there. Remember the one he hit in the 4th, and now this one in the 6th. Jim Hickey's on the mound, heading up that big conference.
Well, you need a minor miracle here. Already trailing by 2. You got runners, 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out. You do have the bottom of the Twins order coming up here.
And one of them, Rosario, who's already driven in a run and has been on base twice.
Field in. Here we go.
Rosario singled into left in the second and walked his last time up. Strike at the knees. Oh, that's a call that Bellotti needed to try to turn this inning around. 1-1. Twins have had base runners in every inning of this game. They scored their 3 runs on 4 hits in the second. One and two. Out in front of that one and over it.
Well, Rosario was put on alert the first pitch. You know, you get that first pitch going against you, and you think now all of a sudden you have to cover more than you actually do. And that changeup right there started in about the same spot, and then that action took it away. This is where you really are thinking, what is my best swing and miss option?
And he strikes him out. Boy, a big strikeout there for the young right-hander.
And he comes right back with that changeup. You see him with the grip. And Rosario waving.
One out with men at second and third. And here's Aaron Hicks, who made that great running catch on the ball off the bat of Logan Forsythe in the top half of this inning. And that pitch way wide and stopped by Rivera. Well, the Rays are trying to catch the Yankees. They're one game behind the Yankees right now, running second in the East. And the Twins are trailing Kansas City and Detroit in the Central. They're running third, 3 games back. Only 4 games separate top to bottom in the AL East. The Toronto and Baltimore each 4 back. Two and 1 to Hicks. Well, it was a couple of years ago that the Twins tried to designate Hicks as the young player to emerge from their system and play center field, and it was a struggle for him. Just recently back from the minor leagues. 25 years old now, switch hitter. Hit .215 last year in 69 games. It's foul out of play. 2-2. And your breakdown of him, I think, last night, I think you're onto something with his approach at the plate.
Well, there's a lot going on there. I mean, you think that as the pitchers get ready to deliver the ball to home plate, he's got the hitch with the bat, and then he's got the leg kick. That is difficult to keep in sync for long stretches of time. And you think he would be very susceptible to Bellotti's changeup right here.
He lays off, and the count is full to Aaron Hicks.
Well, if he can get that closer, he will get the swing and a miss, but he's got to present it just a little bit better. and be a gutsy pitch here, but you do have a base open, so you can afford to be aggressive with your pitch selection.
And he got him. He came right back with it and got the swing and miss there on 3-2.
Man, that was absolutely the right call. Just get it closer and present it. Now here goes the leg kick, the bat, and can't stay back on it.
So nice job by Bellotti to get Hicks. And here's Danny Santana. He drove in 2 with a base hit back in the 2nd inning.
You know, going back to the swing there of Aaron Hicks, just think about if you went out there as a pitcher and went fastball, changeup, how would he ever stay in rhythm? I mean, the fastball, he'd have to, you know, flip that bat, get that leg up and get it down real quick. Then the changeup, you would just completely befuddle him. That's what Bellotti just did.
A lesson in as simple as possible. The simpler, the better.
You know, here's the other thing. The guys that have been successful with a lot of movement in their swing have done it their whole career. That's how they grew up hitting. This is something new. This is something that Aaron Hicks has contrived recently.
Yeah.
Tough sell.
One and 2. And as strong as all these guys are, those guys with a lot of motion tend to be big and strong.
If you want to get that extra bat movement going, you better have really strong wrists and forearms for sure.
Foul out of play. Still a ball, 2 strikes.
Well, this is why we feel comfortable calling Trevor May, referring to him as Trev, as we've been here long enough that we know him that well now.
To know him, yeah.
Right. Cross that line of spending time with somebody, and you go to the nickname.
Two and 2. Santana, 24 years old, at .319 last year in 405 at bats with the Twins. And a swing and a miss. He strikes out Santana on the changeup. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and boy, did he make good use of the change to Rosario, Hicks, and Santana. On Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll hear from Chris Archer, and Orestes will break down Trevor Plouffe. All of that on the pregame.
You stay formal with Plouffe. Plouffe does. You can't go Trev Plouffe.
I'd buy that. As we discussed the other night, I'm not really quite sure if it had to be a noun other than a name. What would a Plouffe be? Here's DeJesus ripping one toward the corner. That's a fair ball. On his way to second, Hunter with a pickup, and David DeJesus, just like that, gives the Rays a threat to open the 7th inning.
It's remarkable, really, the way that this game has gone. And the Rays down just 2, a leadoff double here in the 7th. And you're going to see DeJesus out in front a little bit, but he keeps this ball fair.
So DeJesus 2 for 3 today. And here's Cabrera. He tripled to open the 3rd and was left stranded on 3rd. He's inside. So he made just over 90 pitches, working to his second hitter in the 7th. He's had great pitch count with the exception of the 4th when the Rays scored their run, and it required 34 pitches. One and one. Dunsing, the left-hander. Tonkin, the right-hander. We saw him up last night. Tonkin did not get into that game. Warrior and Perkins followed Phil Hughes. Two balls and a strike. Just one earned run, no walks, 6 hits, with 3 strikeouts through 6 innings plus. Cabrera fouls the 2-1. Steve Geltz up in the Rays bullpen. DeJesus back and forth off second. This pitch skied to shallow left. One away.
And David DeJesus doing anything that he can do out there to try to take away from the concentration of Trevor May on the hitter. That was a curveball that hung, but it was way up in the zone, and Cabrera, there's not much you can do with that pitch. Take it maybe for a ball. In the middle infield right there, you've got Eduardo Escobar going in to talk to Trevor May about how they're going to handle DeJesus, because he's really trying to become a distraction.
Tim Beckham is 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. The breaking ball drops low. 1-0.
When you got Brian Dozier out there jockeying with David DeJesus, which is opening up a big hole on the right side for Tim Beckham if he chooses to go that way. And even if you hit a ground ball to the first baseman, it's going to be a race.
2-0. Well, Beckham making his 19th start. Most of those have been at second. had a great start coming off the bench this year and has continued to be more effective that way than starting. It's foul back, and it's 2-1.
Okay, that catch by the fan, one of the best you'll see. That was a missile coming up here. One hand with some, I don't even know, it looked like leftover nachos, and he one-handed that ball.
There's a drive high and deep into left center field. He got hold of that one, and this game is tied. Tim Beckham annihilated a 2-1 pitch, and the Rays finally pull even. Beckham's 4th home run. The other 3 have been against lefties, and boy, did he nail that one.
How in the world is this game tied? It's just amazing the way that the Rays have been able to hang around, and then one big blow, a no-doubter off the bat of Tim Beckham.
Well, it has been a frustrating day for the Rays, and finally they pull even. 104.1 off the bat, and Beckham has just belted a 2-run home run. So it's 2-0 to Rivera now in a conference on the hill. Well, that's what Kevin Cash was hoping for. He talked to Emily Austin before the game. She asked him about the lineup, and he said, well, he says, I think if Beckham gets a chance and gets his pitch, he's got a chance to maybe do some damage. Well, there's some damage for you. The Rays finally, after all afternoon trying to do something offensively, get it done on one swing of the bat.
And the way that the Rays pitching has stepped up in some tough spots. You think about that last half inning.
Down to third for Plouffe. 2 gone.
And Bellotti had runners on second and third and nobody out. Punches out 3 straight to even put him in this position.
Well, Kevin Kiermaier's due. Paul Molitor out of the dugout, headed to the mound. That's going to be it for Trevor May through 6 2/3. and had escaped a number of threats, and he's out of the game here in the 7th inning.
He was flirting with danger all afternoon, and for the longest time kept the Rays at bay, just giving up that 1 run until that pitch right there after a DeJesus double, and that's how quickly it can all go away.
So it'll be Brian Dunsing, the left-hander, on to face Kevin Kiermaier. And he bounces one to second. Dozier's toss. The Rays are finished in the 7th, but they get a big 2-run home run from Tim Beckham. And this game is tied 3-3. Beckham's 4th home run of the year. Series tomorrow. We'll be with you at 1:30 on Sun Sports, and Chris Archer will put his 3-0 record lifetime against the Twins and a 0.49 ERA out there in the wrap-up game of the series.
Well, he recovered nicely his last time out after a couple of subpar outings, threw the ball well, and looked to continue his dominance of Minnesota.
Well, it's going to be Kevin Jepsen on the hill for the Rays as we swing into the 7th, and the top of the order is up here. There's a strike. Brian Dozier has been on base 3 times today without a hit. 2 walks, and he was hit by a pitch in the middle plate appearance. Oh, 2. Jepsen in the game for an inning last night. He inherited a couple of runners.
This game has now come down to bullpen depth and bullpen execution. Tie ball game. The Rays a well-rested pen. We talked about the fact that the Minnesota Twin bullpen 13th in the American League in ERA. Well, you can stay away from their closer.
Line drive right to Forsythe, positioned well off that first base bag, and he was in a perfect spot.
When you talk about perfect defense, you're right. Logan Forsythe well off the bag and did not have to move. Go down to a crouch and catch this thing like a catcher.
Now Torrey Hunter Hunter 1 out of 3. Ground ball, that's going to go through and into left. A diving attempt by Cabrera. So Hunter is aboard. Here in the bottom of the 7th. Let's check in with Emily for a moment. Emily?
Dwayne, as you know, Kevin Jepsen is a new guy to this Rays pitching staff. He said what he likes working with Jim Hickey and being a part of that Rays pitching staff is that he wasn't changed as soon as he got here. He was able to be himself, and if they need to work on him with something, they didn't have to do it right away. He can just be himself, and that was the best part about joining this Rays team.
Well, what he had going out in Los Angeles with the Angel bullpen was a pretty good routine, and he just carries that right into this role with the Rays. Now Joe Mauer pitches a strike.
Well, you work the ball down and away here. You've got Asdrubal Cabrera defending him. Well, right here. Another ground ball to him, another double play. May we see it?
We've seen a couple of them right there so far today. And Mauer takes a pitch off the plate out there. 1-1. And again, he lays off. 2 balls and a strike. Twins have had runners on base in every inning. Rays have had men on in 4 of the 7. 3-9-0 for Minnesota and 3-7-0 for the Rays. Now ball 3. So Mauer not of a mind to go after any of those pitches.
No, he's got good strike zone discipline. Been at this for quite a while. A guy that we know that will use the whole field. The power numbers way down. More of a singles hitter right now. But still with an understanding of what's a strike and what is not.
And there's ball 4. So he takes the walk. Hunter will move up to second. Trevor Plouffe. Interesting, when Mauer faced Jepsen last night, he went after the first pitch and grounded out. He was extremely disciplined here in the bottom of the 7th inning to draw the walk and push Hunter into scoring position at second. Now Plouffe, 3 fly ball outs. There's a strike. Rays tied it in the bottom or the top of the 7th. We're in the bottom of the 7th, and the Twins threaten. 1-1. That puts the count in Jepsen's favor.
It's almost like Trevor Plouffe is just not able to recognize these pitches. You know, a couple of them down and away, not going to do anything with, but that one caught a lot of the plate. You could see the reaction of Plouffe. Not real happy with himself. Now finds himself down 1-2 and susceptible to Jepsen going with that hook.
And a tap back to the mound. Wide throw at second. Everybody's going to be safe. Boy, big mistake.
Well, you could almost see it coming. His feet were never set. Kevin Jepsen is thinking double play. And so as he fields this ball that wasn't hit that hard, watch his feet never get set. He doesn't step at his target, kind of steps wide and flips it, sidearm. That's not his normal throwing motion, and he doesn't control it very well. This ball just sails on him a little bit as he flips it out there, kind of like a middle infielder off target, and he knows it.
So the bases are loaded for Minnesota with Kurt Suzuki coming up. There's Jim Hickey out there on the hill. And here's the other thing. Suzuki has as many or more at-bats than anybody else against Jepsen, and he is 3 for 6 against him. So it's not getting any easier.
No, and you know what? The way that Kevin Jepsen attacks right-handed hitters, a lot of heaters that he tries to bore down in a way, then the breaking ball. We've seen Suzuki going up the middle the other way. That's what you look for here. That's why you see Logan Forsythe where he is.
Suzuki with a single today. That was up the middle, back in the second. And he sends a fly ball to right. Souza Jr. backing up to make the catch. Run will score after the tag. And it's 4-3 Minnesota.
Well, he wasn't going to wait around. The first pitch away from him that he could get to, that one happened to be up just a little bit, which allowed him to get elevation and get that ball deep out into right field. And the Twins, they answer.
An unearned run, but a big run nevertheless. So it's 4-3 Minnesota. And Eduardo Escobar, who is 3 for 3 today, becomes the hitter with Plouffe at first and Mauer at third.
This one right here. Come on, that's it.
Ball one. Well, the game was tied on the home run by Tim Beckham in the top of the inning, but it wasn't tied for all that long. Strike called. It's 1-1. Twice today, Escobar shot the ball by Forsythe at first for doubles both times.
Well, you can see in his batting stance, he's kind of leans out over the plate a little bit, looks to get around the baseball.
Scores. Plouffe heads to third. And again, the Twins are up by 2. It's 5-3. 4 for 4 day for Escobar.
Well, normally an infielder. He played out of position last night in left field. Back to a familiar spot today at shortstop. Or at least a familiar part of the field, and I'll tell you what, he's worn out right field.
Kevin Cash heads to the mound. He wants the new pitcher. We'll take a break. cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5 by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com and by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Steve Geltz will take over, becoming the 4th Rays pitcher. He will inherit runners at first and third with 2 gone.
Well, he's been a busy man. Hasn't pitched in a few days, though. A little bit under the weather. In fact, Steve Geltz, you talked to him, he said, that's the sickest I've ever been. It took him a few days to recover and get back to feeling good, and said that he was anxious to get back out on the mound. Well, that's where he finds himself, trying to clean up a little mess.
Eddie Rosario at the plate. First pitch from Geltz is low. Well, a couple hits and a walk allowed by Jepson. The error, his throwing error, certainly hurt. 2 runs have crossed the plate. 2 on, 2 out. Blocked by Rivera. All of these runs unearned, but they are big ones. Two and 1. Down 2-0. Challenge him with a fastball.
Geltz is not afraid to use that fastball. He's not afraid to pitch up in the zone with it. He's a max effort type guy.
Two and 2. Rosario drove in a run back in the 2nd inning, the first run of the game. He has since walked and struck out. He'll surprise you sometimes with his pop. He's had a couple years in the minor leagues when he's been in double figures with home runs. Runner goes. And a swing and a miss. That will take care of Minnesota in the 7th inning, but the Twins put up 2 and lead 5-3. Today's game summary brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. Well, Tim Beckham's 2-run homer tied it for just a brief time. That made it 3-3. And the Twins back with a couple of unearned runs in the bottom of the 7th, take a 5-3 lead. Eduardo Escobar 4 for 4 today with a run batted in and a run scored. When we go to the 8th, the Rays will face Blaine Boyer. He's been the setup guy, worked the 8th inning last night. On for the 18th time.
His last 13 appearances, it's been 15 scoreless innings, and those 5 holds. And you'll get there as a setup guy trying to turn it over to Glenn Perkins, who has been flawless this year for the Twins, and that's the formula that they'll try to use again right here. So the Rays got their work cut out for them with these two.
Souza down in the count. Fouls it back. Souza faced Boyer last night. Went to 3-2 with him, and then Boyer with a mid-90s fastball struck him out swinging.
He tried to do the same right there at 95. Now you wonder about that breaking ball that he'll try to sweep off the plate. And you can do that here 0-2. Take a shot down and away. See if Souza Jr. chases.
And a ground ball backhanded by Plouffe. Long throw to first, got him, and that's quite a play by Plouffe.
You know, good enough to get the backhand, but the throw is better. Knowing Souza Jr. runs well, he doesn't waste any time. He doesn't set his feet real well. Everything's quick. He just turn and fire a bullet right on the money. You see, he just stops his momentum, turns a short step, and a rocket shot across the diamond.
Here's Evan Longoria.
We see a lot of guys on that play. They stop their momentum, then they want to crow hop to get something on the throw. Well, I'm not sure if you're afforded that kind of time with Souza Jr. and his arm strong enough, doesn't need to.
One and one to Longoria. Evan doubled and scored in the 4th. That was the first run for the Rays. That will be strike 2. Paul Immel down at first as he went.
Let's take a look. This ball runs in. I think Evan thought that he was able to hold up there. It was really close. It's a big swing too. 1-2 as opposed to 2-1.
Longoria sends it to right near the line. Hunter's there. 2 outs. James Loney up here. Ball, 1 strike. Thompson, the left-hander, up in the bullpen now. Loney hitting with 2 outs and the base is empty. Tony sends a fly ball into left. Rosario comes in and makes the catch. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rays trail by 2. Of the 8th here in Minnesota. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. We'll be anchoring the coverage right here from Target Field. We'll have Kevin Cash's press conference. Emily Austin will have interviews from the clubhouse. Rays bring on pitcher number 5, Ernesto Frieri. Makes his 16th appearance. Aaron Hicks leads it off and puts down a bunt. Barehanded pickup. Longoria throw. Got him over there at first base.
I'll tell you what, Evan Longoria sniffed that play out and then had to make it. It's one thing to know it's coming. It's another to stop it from happening, and he did just that. The speedy Hicks, and that was a good bunt too. A full head of steam, and then throwing that ball across your body on the run, on the money.
Ball on to Danny Santana. Take another look at Evan Longoria's expertise there. Fly ball lifted into center. Kiermaier. 2 gone. So the bases are empty with 2 gone. Well, this is the first time this has happened in any one inning. That Rays pitching has retired the first 2 Minnesota hitters.
Boy, it's felt like that kind of a day.
Yep.
Each pitching staff having to work out of base runners in trouble seemingly all day long.
It's Perkins, the left-hander. 1-1. fly ball to left. DeJesus to the wall. Gone. Dozier's 6th home run of the year. He had one last night in the 3rd inning. Then drove in a run. Turned out to be the difference, a sacrifice fly in the 7th. Well, he just unloaded a home run here with 2 outs and the bases empty in the 8th. And that increases the Rays' deficit to 3. Torrey Hunter sends a fly ball into right, and Souza is there to make the catch. 1 run scores on the home run by Dozier. We're headed into the 9th, 6-3 Minnesota. Today's timeless moment is brought to you by Coors Banquet. Eduardo Escobar, a 4-hit day today, 4 for 4 with 2 doubles.
Back up the middle here, eluding Asdrubal Cabrera, and then it would become the right field show, and he would take aim at Logan Forsythe a couple of different times with some shots down the line, and then out here, getting out and around another ball out into right field, a big base hit, drive in another run. He's had quite the afternoon for the Twins. Glenn Perkins, 12 out of 12. Saw him last night. No walks, 14 punch-outs, and 16 1/3.
First pitch is too close to Forsythe. 1-0.
And he got that extra run to work with, too, as he comes in for the save, and he's got the full 3.
Fly ball toward the line and left. That's going to be foul. And Escobar angling out from shortstop, but no chance to get there. Perkins with 12 saves, tied with Houston Street for second, one behind the Yankee left-hander Andrew Miller. Now 2-1. Forsythe drove in a run with an extended at bat back in the 4th inning. 11 pitches, and he delivered eventually a sacrifice fly. And a drive deep to left. That ball has some carry and is gone. Home run for Logan Forsythe, and it's 6-4. Logan's 4th home run of the year.
Well, he got a breaking ball, and he does not disappoint with the swing that he put on it.
So the Rays get one of those runs back, and here's Brandon Guyer to pinch hit for DeJesus. He lifts a fly ball right side, drifting toward the stands, but it's going to be caught by Maurer.
Well, a nice job by Maurer to get over to that pop-up. Brandon Guyer clearly frustrated. You can understand why. You're thinking, okay, strike one. And Maurer able to track it down near the short wall and make the catch. You see at home, they get out of the way for you.
Base hit by Cabrera, dropping it into center field. So with one out, suddenly the Rays will get the potential tying run to the plate in the 9th. And it will be Tim Beckham who hit the home run in the 7th inning that tied the game at 3. You don't imagine it could happen again, do you? Guess we're going to find out. Beckham has 4 home runs now. The first 3 came against left-handed pitching. Pitch is fouled out of play for a strike.
Well, sensing the theme here and what Glenn Perkins likes to do to these right-handed hitters, and we saw it even last night, is pound that mid-90s fastball in, and then drop the breaking ball off of it. Try to back foot the slider to get you to swing over the top. You almost want to just cheat in and let it go. And that's what.
There it is.
Yeah. Once you get thinking fastball in there, you know that you've got to get the bat started quickly because of velocity. So when he comes in with that slider, that front hip bails, the swing happens, and the ball's not there.
2 strikes to count on Beckham. And there is strike 3 called. Fastball gets him looking.
Well, then you get into a hitter's head. You know, he was thinking fastball on pitch number 2. It was the breaking ball. Now he's not sure what to do, and Perkins freezes him. Mid-90s.
Well, now it will be a pinch hitter. Joey Butler comes on to bat for Rene Rivera.
I can't wait to see this matchup because you know Butler. Well, you know what he's going to try and do, and he's going to turn that swing loose.
He pounds it back. Fastball. Good cut. Strike 1.
Hey. This is the Rays' last shot. There's nothing. No time like the present.
High fly ball down the right side, and that's tailing toward the stands. And the count is 0-2. Two strikes the count. And Butler is out on strikes to end this game. So a leadoff home run, and that's all the Rays get in the 9th. It's a 6-4 final. Rays Live. The postgame comes your way next. For Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Hope you enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome.